seats here. It's really exciting to see, but regardless, going into game number 2, we're going to take a look at our player here for Samsung Galaxy Con and Solar.
Not the best record versus Zerg in Pro League, and still up below 50%. But last year, he was on fire. He was on a great win streak against Protoss. People are calling him the Protoss killer. But he has to play a ZVZ today, and that's not going to be the matchup he wants to play. Now, let's see what he's got prepared today. A lot of people favor him here, but I do not, actually, against his opponent. We're going to introduce in just a second.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually picked Solar. I'm not sure if we're going to get a look at the predictions, but this guy's an interesting guy. He's just kind of, he's won tournaments before, big tournaments. DreamHacks, you know, but he comes back here. He's not that great against Zerg. You see those stats, and actually all 3 Korean casters voted against him. They went for Curious, this guy over here, who is 0-5 in Pro League and 0-1 versus Zerg, but they just feel like he's going to win against Solar here.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, Curious's late game, you know, in ZVP is something that we've talked about a lot, but his ZVZ is solid as well. He's got really good micro. He's another fast player like Lucera, for example, and I just feel like Curious's recent performances made me feel better than Solar's. I feel like Solar is in a bit of a rough spot right now in his career, and ZVZ is not the matchup that he wanted to play. And that's why I'm not voting as much for Curious as much as I'm voting against Solar. I feel like Solar's not in the right place right now.
Well, guys, the map is Catallena for this ZVZ.
All right, it's game number 2. Let's find out if Samsung can tie it up, or if StarTale-yoe is going to take a 2-0 lead.
Over here on the west side of Catallena in the red for Samsung Galaxy Con, it is Solar.
And down here the bottom right in blue for StarTale-yoe, it's Curious, the stone cold killer, the gatekeeper. Never underestimate this player.
Well, going into this match, the map is on Catallena. The map is Catallena, I should say. And a map we oftentimes see a lot of Terrans on. A very Terran-favored map against Zerg and Protoss. But interestingly enough here, and I feel like this has to do more with the teams we have playing today, we have a couple of Zergs. Both teams not really known for their Terran players these days. And it creates this interesting moment where we're probably not going to see many ZVZs on this map in the future, but we're going to see it today.
Yeah, and already we have a 10 pull for Curious. Something to note. Going for that really, really fast spawning pool. Going to be aggressive. But yeah, I mean, honestly, would have expected to see out of StarTale, Bomber maybe on this map, or perhaps Hack or even Alive. But it looks like they just don't want to use their Terrans today. And maybe this is something that they want to use to try to get into the head of Solar, for example. I don't think, you know, the thing is Solar played a tough series against Dream in the SSL. And, you know, maybe he's preparing for that matchup because he was like, oh, man, I really got to fix this. I lost a Dream. He just totally outclassed me. It's going to be a hatch first out of him, so Curious getting a pretty nice advantage here, build order-wise. Let's see what damage he can get done. He does scout in the incorrect direction with his Overlord, so that's a bit annoying. But because the rush distance on this map, no matter which way you look at it, isn't very far, can still redirect pretty carefully, pretty quickly.
So far, just 8 links coming out of Curious. He is definitely committing to this right now, and immediately the Baneling Nest comes down.
10-pull Bane, man. The Bane of ZVZ. The reason why so many players dislike playing this on the ladder.
We do have the spawning pool coming out after the hatch, so no gas here from Solar.
Yeah, no extra drones either, so a fairly safe spawning pool timing, considering the hatch first. And let's see exactly how much damage Curious can get done. What he can do here is just poke around the lings. The 2 extra lings that come late, like the 7th and 8th ling, are often the ones that get morphed into banelings on the ramp. And then those 2 lings, how much damage they get done is often the deciding factor in ZVZ versus the hatch first. Well, the pool timing here, like I said, it's kind of safe. You can get those lings up right away. And I have to do some drone drills, though.
Yeah, let's see what he can do immediately. 2 Banes morphing the 7th and 8th lings, like you were saying, down there in the natural. becoming ready. We do have, it looks like 4 Zerglings, possibly 6 coming out right now of Solar to combat the 6 of Curious, but he has not seen the Banelings just yet. Now he sees it.
He sees them, and if he gets a good hit on the Lings of Solar here, that's game. Okay, good splits here, but he's losing mining time. One hit is pretty decent, and he gets a good surround on the remaining Zerglings.
One is really good. He's going to keep that Baneling alive now for more Zerglings that are going to pop out. We do have 2 Queens about to pop.
Yeah, those
more Banelings are on the way.
Those Queens are so important because they're so tanky, and they are able to do ranged damage.
Oh.
That hit, gets a lot of these drones damaged, but doesn't finish any of them off, and the Queen is helping out here. These drones are playing Ring Around the Rosie over here. Meanwhile, the second Queen gets involved, and you know what? Looks like this is going to be a hold for now. Damage has been done, but they're at even worker counts with 2 Queens and 2 hatches for extra larva.
And wow, Solar's even making drones here. He's not that scary. Once he gets those Queens out, he's definitely a lot more comfortable. But Curious on the back end of this, he's getting speed. He's making more Lings behind it. I've not seen the drone on the production tab just yet for Curious, so he wants to continue with this, and a really nice surround on 3 Lings.
Yep.
It's going to help him out in his play.
This is going to be an all-in follow-up. He wants to see how much damage he can get done right now, how much pressure he can put on, and right now, there's a scout for Solar. He knows there's no hatch, so what he's wanting to do here is start some spines. The first spine coming up right now. He's going to want to protect that with his Queens. If he can afford it, if he can squeeze it out, he'll probably even get a second spine as he still sees no hatch, and it's pretty clear what the follow-up here is going to be. It's going to be a big Ling, Ling all-in, a Speedling all-in, and he can't afford to get Banelings, obviously. He can't get gas. He can't mine enough gas to afford Banelings, but if he just gets his own Lings out, walls the ramp here, and he can get if he could get a second spine crawler, that would be so nice for him, but it's just so expensive to afford right now. He's trying to actually get an additional Queen to help wall that ramp. He's building up that transfuse energy. Notice he pre-splits his Lings here.
Yeah, you know what? We did see like a couple of drones, maybe 3 drones coming out of Solar, and Curious did a very nice job of actually hiding a huge amount of his Lings in the main base outside of the range of that Overlord scouting here, and he's coming in with a huge swell of Lings with speed, trying to come in and end this game right now.
Oh, he burst down that first spine that was building. The second one gets transfused multiple times. The Queen's doing some extra damage here. The spine will, of course, fall. Another Baneling comes down, but the wall is still tight. Problem being that this base will go down, and oh no, this Queen was not made in the main base, which means that she will get surrounded and killed as well. Does do some tanking, of course, for these Queens to get some extra damage done. Worker counts right now, 13-9, highly in favor of Solar. Well, this pressure is not over yet, and this hatch is starting to get pretty low, down to 400 or so hit points right now.
That's what he wants to do right now. If he can just keep picking at that hatchery, get that down, it's going to make him a lot more even in this game. That one Baneling actually getting this Minecrawler that was forming here. And now after getting that hatch, what does he decide to do here? He's still making more Lings back at home, a couple more Lings, but he is making a Queen.
I think he's just hoping he can break through this. The Queen, of course, so essential for getting the production up to continue this sort of attack. These spines on the low ground are just not working out right now for Solar. You saw even the second one he made, originally he canceled it and moved it because he was like, oh god, actually that Baneling could hit both spines. Banelings do so much damage to armored structures like spine crawlers, so he's just kind of using the Banes to knock down those spines, and it does so much burst damage that sometimes he can even kill it before there's a cancel. And I like this choice. Finally deciding to build that spine crawler up on the high ground where it can't be surrounded, where it can't be burst down by the Banelings. Banelings do not do bonus damage to Queens, so the Queens have so much tanking power here, and the Lings are not going to be able to get us around either with that tight wall. So he's hoping to just bide his time here. But the problem is he doesn't have gas, and eventually Curious can actually take his own base and kind of just put up soft contain here.
Yeah, he's already making drones back at home. That Queen is helping with the production, like you were saying. He has not made a hatchery. He's going to go down and make it right now, and that's going to be the key for Solar to be like, oh, okay, he's transitioning out of this. He's making this hatch, and I can just try to break out of my base eventually. But he's going to know that he's behind, and he's got to do it like sometime soon.
Curious has executed this so well. And the spine crawler is now going to come down here. It's going to be tough to actually burst this down. He's going to have to use a lot of units if he wants to commit to this, and he decides not to. He just wants to keep that pressure tight here. Try to snipe a drone. He's like, where's your drone? Is it coming down? I'm going to kill it. I'll trade some Lings for that. He's not quite able to get it, but he does go in here. Okay, he's going for it now. If he can snipe that drone, that would be huge. And he gets it. He's actually trying to get a Queen. Decides to go for the run-by instead. Solid defense here by Solar on the other hand. But again, more time being lost on this hatchery.
Yeah, very, very key. Hatch is about 2/3 done for Curious back at his own base. He's making a huge swell of drones. with those queens. You know, he's able to inject constantly, whereas Solar's forced to use his queens here for the defense. Just for transfuse energy. You see a lot of these queens with a lot of high energy, and we see that drone count now starting to rise and soar above Solar on Curious side of things.
Yeah. Well, the queen advantage does give him a ton of creep spread, so you can get a lot of extra vision with this. He's got that overlord coming out as well. And, you know, Solar is not out of this game by any means, but the tech problem is a serious one. And let's see how he decides to remedy that. I mean, he is trying to use this extra queen energy as best as he can, but he's even being denied right now by some of these speedlings. Ooh, one speedling tries to get a scout. Does get blasted down there by that spine crawler. Oh, what a tense game we have here already.
Yeah, we're going to transition a bit into a kind of mid-game here. And I was curious to see what Curious was going to do, actually, how he was going to transition. He goes into a lair right away off the 2 bases. He's taking his gases.
Yeah, and no Roach Warren. And he's mined a ton of gas. So he could potentially go 2-base Spire. There are a lot of queens out, though, something to consider. Let's wait and see if he adds a Roach Warren here in just a second.
Important Overlord to keep here. Scout those gases. Make sure you know when your opponent, Zerg, is going to go for those gases. Know when he's going to go for extra tech.
Very, very important. By the way, Curious up 8 drones right now with these structures going down. He was up 7, but of course, toss your drone to make a building. And here comes running in here, actually trying to snipe even more drones. A transfuse to save one of the drones. Got to use that extra queen energy somehow. Comes into the main base relatively undefended, forcing a drone pull here. And Curious gets such a huge advantage from all this. He gets a great scout as well. And there's that Spire going up at home. He's going into that 2-base Spire with the gas advantage he has. And with slow lings here, these lings are just doing so much. These speedlings can run circles around those slow lings of Solar.
And they're doing a great job of it. Curious is owning up this game so far. He's even confident enough to throw down a 3rd base with a Spire on the way. He knows that Solar is just so far behind in this game.
He's like, you have no roaches. Roach Warren's just finishing. Lair's not even done yet. And you have no idea that I have a Spire. You have no scout. I can use my Mulus to control the map, defend my 3rd base, harass you. I can counterattack with my speedlings that I have if you try to make a move on my 3rd base. He is in a great position right now. Solar really just has to buckle down and try to hold on to this 3rd base. A scout will be so nice for him right now. He needs to know. I think he's sending an Overseer in right now.
He was morphing that Overseer, and here he goes. He's going to go into the main base, and he should be able to get that scout. But it's a bit late. You know, that Spire's about to finish.
And Curious is going to come over here and hit the space. Boom. Canceled. Going to kill the drone as well. And escapes. He knows there's no ling speed. He's confirmed this 100 times.
He's just running circles around Solar because of that fact that you just mentioned. We do see that Solar does get the scout on the Spire, so he knows what is coming his way now. He's going to want to throw down a lot of spores.
Well, lings are in the main. It's not even being shown by JKS here, but more and more damage being done. Curious has just way too much of an advantage right now. He's totally controlling this game. Good position on this queen, by the way. Insanely well done by Solar. And he was actually going to push this away without, barely any loss. Only 3 drones, but any drone he loses right now hurts, especially with how late his 3rd base is. Looks like he might lose a queen, which is going to hurt for the defense. Does save it with some transfuses.
Yeah, he's got so many queens. He can just transfuse for ages here. Finally, the spores are coming down. He does have roach speed as well back at the base for Solar.
No spores at the 3rd base, though. No spores at the 3rd. He's moving one over there right now, but it's a bit too slow. Let's see what these Mutalisks can get done. He might just go for Overlords. Anything he can pick off, though, is a win. Gonna go for this queen first. He has to be careful. Spore Crawlers can actually 3-shot a Muta. Be so careful with that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the damage they do to Bio right now. Coming in, trying to snipe some of these Overlords like you were saying. But again, all of these queens doing a very nice job with the transfuses. So far, these Mutas not able to get any damage done.
So even though Curious has this massive economic advantage, he's had his 3rd base up for so long, he's mined so much extra gas. The one thing he's missing is roaches. And that is the one thing that Solar has that he does not have, that he's starting to build now. He's starting to get his roach speed and his +1, as well as roaches and an infestation pit with all that extra gas. With his 3rd base, he knows he has without a worry. He doesn't have to make any spines. He even cleans up this slow ling run by with no trouble. A great defense we've seen from Solar from start to finish throughout this game.
Yeah, he's been trying to do his best with the tools that he's got, even though they were a bit behind compared to Curious. And finally, these Mutas starting to come in here and do a bit of damage. They do get one Overlord. I believe they got one in the bottom left of the map as well. Just being annoying for Solar, forcing him to make more Overlords, more minerals dumped into stuff that he does not want to make.
Ooh,
He's
Curious.
behind.
He's even going into Swarm Hosts here. He wants to just get the map, control the Swarm Host. This Mulis are in such a great spot where there are no spores and where the Queens have to be at another location. He's actually going to be able to snipe this as +2. Well, will he, though? Transfuse goes down. Still just too much damage on those Mutas. And another Overlord will fall. This is starting to add up. This is starting to be too much. If you could deny gas mining even with your Mutalisk.
And that he will be able to. Spore out of position, not able to defend it. He could even try to go over to the other side and snipe that gas too.
And what
or, go to the third base, snipe that gas. He's got so many options. He's putting on so much pressure with this.
Milos aren't even necessarily supposed to do this much damage. It's all just kind of a bonus. He forced a Hydralisk then. And Infestors this early. And he knows that if a Roach counterattack happens at his third base, Milos can defend that no problem too. You know, I mean, I'm talking about a long time ago. We're way past that point now, but killing a lot of drones now. Going to get another Overlord potentially here. Infestors pop out though, and he dodges the fungal. Oh, that was an important dodge right there.
That it was, man. That it was. He does fly away. He's totally fine. He's getting that Roach count up now. He's got the Swarm Host that you did mention before. He's starting to make an incredibly scary army here.
Curious is the type of player, if he gets a little advantage, he gets ahead, he just maintains it while trying to put a little bit of pressure on and goes for the safest option, which in this case is going down that Stefano route, man. It's going down Mass Swarm Host. He's already got a few out. He's going to 11 in total, 12 in total now. And with all these Swarm Hosts, with the Roach count he has, he's going to be able to slowly pressure these bases while he takes a fourth. There's no perceivable way right now that I could find that Solar can move out across the map. He's just going to have to turtle up himself and try to figure something out, try to get some good fungals. Another snipe on a lone Hydralisk here. This gas may fall again. Drone's being picked off. He's going to lose it.
Yep. Loses one Muta for it, but that's a good trade. You want to deny all the gas you can. Coming in here are the Locust. Is going to be so hard for Solar to deal with. He's trying to move out and defend at his third base while the Locusts are coming right down the middle, clearing up the creep of Solar and just being annoying in general.
I mean, his army looks puny compared to Curious's Locust army, but if he could get on top of it for one moment and Fungal, does Mulis need to turn around? Close call there. The Fungal's at the back, kind of caught there with those Infestors, kind of bumping into each other. But look at this. Curious baits him out over here, baits him into the Swarmos, where the Locust should be able to defend the Swarmos for enough time, and then attacks the third base. He might even be able to kill this. He's going to kill drones instead. Look at all these Harvesters falling. 14, 15. And baits out a Fungal here. He's just trying to buy time for the next wave of Locusts. And here they come. They should be able to push this back.
They're doing a decent job of it. And even though Curious does have to give up his own third base, he's got a fourth base, whereas Solar does not. It seems like Curious actually has not focused down that third base. He wants to actually go for the front, pick off a lot of these reinforcements coming in. He's got a lot of Roaches going in there, but a huge Fungal on a lot of these Swarmos.
This is what he needs. This is what he needs to turn this game around. Low on energy, though. Even Mutalisk chasing Infestors. Never thought I'd see the day. But another wave of Locust comes in. And basically what he's trying to do is trade. He doesn't want to kill the bases. He wants to kill the units. He wants to kill the drones. He knows he has the better economy. And with these free units, he's trading with his opponent's army.
He's delaying.
He's got the better economy. Look at his bank. He's got 2,000 minerals, 1,000 gas.
He's delaying so much time. The Roaches go in, and GG is called. Curious takes the second game here for StarTale. And a really impressive ZVZ out of this guy.
Cheers amongst the crowd here, and StarTale taking a 2-0 lead.
This is what I was hoping to see, man, because looking at the StarTale lineup, their roster looks really impressive. I love a lot of the players on their team, so scrappy, especially all of those Zergs. But they weren't have the greatest results, but today they're coming out with a blast, man. They are performing so well.
They're just on point. Looking really, really strong. And, you know, this is why I voted Curious, because I felt like this guy is, the way he played against Hero, even though he ended up losing that game in the last seconds of it, because Hero made some awesome decision-making, built the perfect army. That was an incredible PvZ. Go back and watch that if you missed it. I felt like his play there, that inspired me to think, like, this guy is on point